Hi, my name is Paul Martinelli, and you may not know me, but I want to just share a very quick idea. I dropped out of high school. I was born and raised in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, dropped out of high school, and at the age 22, I had $200 in a dream. I borrowed a used vacuum cleaner, bought a bottle of furniture polish and a bottle of window cleaner, and I started a commercial cleaning company. I was going to get rich in the business. About 2 years later, and a lot of work, my business just got stuck. It just stopped growing. And I know if you've ever been in the game of life, you know that stuck stinks. That when you're not growing, when you're not living your full potential, it's frustrating. I didn't know why it wasn't working. I don't know why I got stuck. But in 1990, Patrick Hayes put a book in my hand that would change my life. It was the book, Think and Grow Rich. Now, I started to study the book. I really didn't know anything about the book. And when I say I studied the book, see, I didn't read the book. I studied the book. Patrick was a mentor who guided me through each chapter of the book and showed me the true secret of the book. Now, you have to understand, there's over 7 million copies of this book. Now, that was at the time, that was back in 1990, 7 million copies. Gosh, I have no idea how many copies, probably 20 million copies have been sold since then. But I don't think that everybody who read the book became a millionaire. I don't think that everybody who read the book actually did Think and Grow Rich. I think a lot of people kind of casually entered into reading the book and they got casual results. But see, Patrick mentored me. He guided me through studying the book. And he taught me the history of the book. I didn't know the history of the book. I didn't know that Napoleon Hill was a 26-year-old reporter and had an opportunity to sit down at the time with the wealthiest man in the country, Andrew Carnegie. And Carnegie, the steel baron from Pittsburgh, would begin to share the secrets of success to Napoleon Hill. At the end of this 3-day interview that Hill was interviewing Carnegie on, Carnegie commissioned Hill to write a book that the average person could read and study and learn the secrets of success. Now, for the next 20 years, Napoleon Hill studied the lives of 25,000 people, 500 of which were the most successful, powerful people. He studied and worked with Edison, Ford, Rockefeller, Alexander Graham Bell, the Wright brothers. I mean, some heavy hitters. Now, at the culmination of all of that study, end of 20 years, Hill writes the book, Think and Grow Rich. Now, there's only 13 principles in the book, just 13. Now, you might open up the book and expect to find a chapter on luck. You won't find it. You will find a chapter on faith. Maybe you expect that you would open it up to find a chapter on kind of being born rich, born into great wealth, and you won't find a chapter called that. But you will find a chapter on persistence. One of the most fascinating chapters is a chapter called The Mastermind. And in this chapter, Hill reveals a secret that he learned from studying from the wealthiest, most successful people. And that is that wealthy, successful people have always had a mastermind, had always had a group of people that they would spend time with in study for a particular purpose. Maybe it was to grow their business. Maybe it was to grow spiritually. Maybe it was to improve their health. But they would mastermind with other people. People who were operating at different levels of awareness than they were. And I started to look at that and I realized I was masterminding with people who were just full of poverty. I was masterminding with, quite frankly, some people who were just losing in life. And I realized I needed a new group. And Patrick began to introduce me to some other players, some other people who were like me, working hard with a specific purpose and working towards an end in mind. Now, fascinating thing is I did study that book for a number of years, and I did think and grow rich. In other words, my cleaning company just shot off like a rocket. I became a millionaire before I was 35 years old. At one time when I sold the company, when I was 40 years old in 2006, I had the largest privately owned cleaning company in the Southeast United States. It was big. We were cleaning 150 buildings a day at the time. Now, to go from a high school dropout to create that kind of result in business is, I think by any measure, pretty significant. But the things that you can't measure, the other areas of my life that I grew rich in, like I grew rich in spirituality. Like Up until that time in the 1990s, I was kind of lost. I had this vision that God was some angry man on top of a cloud who was kind of keeping a book of all my transgressions and sin and keeping score of me. I didn't really have a relationship. But through studying these principles and through being in the right environment with the right group of people, I began to grow aware of my oneness with God. And God and I created a completely new, quite frankly, monologue and then dialogue in our life. Because before it was just me kind of talking to God, and then this book helped me grow rich to me being quiet and listening, and then being able to enter the conversation in a much more mature spiritual way. It also helped me in the areas of my health. Now, I wasn't sick or, I wasn't completely overweight, but I wasn't taking care of myself. I didn't have a plan for health. See, I wasn't looking at other areas of my life. I just thought if I could get rich, if I could get some money, if I could get a little bit more money than I had a month, things would get better. And then I found over time that the application of these principles changed every area of my life. And that's what I'd like to offer you. See, I've had an opportunity over the last 25 years to teach this material to thousands of people from all over the world. But here recently in the last year, I handpicked a select group of people that I would begin to really work closely with and share and teach them so that they could teach other people, so that this information could be a springboard to learning for people all over the world. And Don is one of the people that I started to work with. I think that this material is really critical, obviously, for people's lives. It's great stuff to study, but learning it really isn't enough. The big gap in most people's learning is what they know and then what they do with what they know. Are you learning from someone who's a practitioner of what they're learning? And that's what I love about Don. You're going to find that Don absolutely has a great understanding and operates at a much higher level of awareness than most people who've simply read the book. But what you're going to find with Don is actually applying this knowledge in his life. I think that's the big difference. It's not just what you learn, it's who you learn from. My favorite book says, by their fruits you'll know them. And I think if you'll join Don's study group, you'll be really glad you did. And you're going to be guided through a process of learning, understanding, and applying the secrets to success. Enjoy.